Welcome everyone to our council meeting. We'll start off asking everyone to be upstanding for the opening prayer. Almighty God, we ask you to be present at this meeting to assist us in our service to the community through local government. We pray that our decisions will be wise and taken with goodwill and clear conscience. Amen. Councillor and officer present at the meeting. We have all councillors in attendance. We have Ms Phelps, our Chief Executive Officer, Mr Heritage, Director of Infrastructure and Environment, Mr Florence, Director of Community Planning, and Ms Taylor, Director of Corporate and Organisational Development. Apologies and granting of leave. Neil, disclosure of the conflicts of interest. Any conflicts in the agenda? No, so we'll go to item 5, confirmation of minutes from the ordinary council meeting held on the 23rd of July and the special council meeting held on the 31st of July. Are there any questions or clarification required on those minutes? No? Would someone like to move a motion with those minutes? Councillor Tolsha.
That the minutes of the ordinary council meeting dated on the 23rd of July and the special council meeting on the 31st of July be confirmed.
Thanks, Councillor Tolsha. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Pittman. We'll put that motion. All those in favour? Passed. Petitions and joint letters. Don't believe we have any. Public question time. Questions? Nil. Informal meeting of councillors. So we have the 23rd of July and the 13th of August. Is there any questions or clarification on either of those dates? We have the motion in front. Would someone like to move the motion? Councillor Pittman.
Yes, I'd like to move that the information be noted.
Thanks, Councillor Pittman. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Anderson. Put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. 9. Organisational improvement. 9.1. Risk and OH&S bi-monthly report. And we'll call on our Director of Corporate and Organisational Development.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So the purpose of this report is to provide Council with an update on, I guess, the key progress that's made in the occupational health and safety and risk management space. I guess, significant achievements or progress during the period was to have the risk management risk matrix endorsed by the Audit and Risk Committee, the proposed risk management calendar of events, and the risk appetite statement. So with endorsement from the Audit and Risk Committee, that can then progress through to Council. We've also implemented safety incident management software, SkyTrust. So this is in response to our requirement to have a system to manage workplace health and safety. We have a range of diverse work sites from early years through to quarries and road maintenance and maternal child health services. So we're also geographically spread, having an online system that can be fully integrated and accessible to staff with, I guess, the right framework for them to be able to be safe at work is one of our responsibilities. So implementing this is a key step in meeting that responsibility. Sorry. Excuse me. And finally, development of the psychosocial risk management framework is another key achievement that we're required to meet in response to the introduction of psychological health regulations that will come into effect by the end of the year. So Council have additional responsibilities around identifying psychological hazards, so that all of our psychological hazards are on the same footing as any physical hazard, and make sure that we are meeting that obligation. And respect at work is another obligation that we have under the Sex Discrimination Act, and we need to have that framework, the training and I guess, yeah, we need to be able to meet that obligation under that legislation. So they're all underway with the aim that they're, particularly the last two, are implemented by the end of the year to meet our legislative obligations. The recommendation is that the report be noted.
Thank you very much. Any questions or clarification on that report? No, we have recommendation in front of us. Would someone like to move motion? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that the risk and OH&S bi-monthly report be noted.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Pittman. Councillor Wortman, would you like to speak to the motion at all?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to thank the Director for that report. Yeah, a lot of good work happening in this space, and yeah, great outcomes for our workforce.
Councillor Pittman, anything else?
Yeah, I'd just like to say I think it's great to see some new technology coming in as far as the recording of this sort of stuff goes. I think it's really important that we're transparent in our reporting of anything that involves workers and health. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Pittman. Would anyone else like to speak to the motion or against the motion? The only thing I'd like to add, and I've probably mentioned this before, but you know, I think it's great to see so much progress happening in this space, and you know, thank you very much to the team for all their work in getting us closer to where we need to be, and we know it's ongoing, but it's definitely heading in the right direction, and so just a big thank you to the team. If there's nothing further, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Long-term financial plan. Again, I'll call on our Director of Corporate and Organisational Development.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So the long-term financial plan is a 10-year forward plan, and it's a requirement of the Local Government Act that every council must prepare a financial plan covering at least the next 10 years and be adopted by the 31st of October in the year following a council election. So the purpose of this report is to seek endorsement from the council for this to be placed on public exhibition, and seek feedback from the community. In preparing the long-term financial plan, we've obviously considered all of the feedback that we have obtained through our council plan consultation, sessions with community, sessions with staff, and obviously the subject matter experts from each area of council. Obviously it attempts to balance the needs of the community and what they are wanting out of the council plan, with our ability to be financially sustainable. So in terms of, I guess, what are our, so I'll read out the risk assessment paragraph, because I think this highlights council's challenge at the moment. So we have been very conservative with our revenue projections, and what I mean by that is we aren't forecasting revenue from non-recurrent capital grants. So unless it's already been committed to us and we've won that grant, we haven't forecast any revenue in that space. However, we have also allocated significant capital expenditure on an annual basis to new assets, and that's a reflection of the I guess the appetite from the community for new facilities, infrastructure, buildings, etc. As well as maintaining the assets that we already have, so our asset renewal expenditure. So that has placed a significant demand on council resources, and the future cash position in 10 years highlights that if we don't get those one-off capital grants, then we will run out of money, or we can't actually build those buildings, infrastructure, whatever it is. So the challenge is to chase and be successful for the one-off capital grants so that we can fund those projects that the community are seeking, but also still be financially sustainable. So the recommendation is as presented.
Thank you very much. A lot of work gone into this one as well. Are there any questions or clarification on long-term financial plan? No? In that case, would someone like to move motion? Councillor Wortman?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as presented.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Anderson? Councillor Wortman, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I've been on council a while, and long-term financial plan is so important to the organisation, and I just can't thank the staff enough for the amount of work that's gone into this. And look, there's more work to be done. We're going to refine it more, but it's a great start, a great starting point. And we all know, as a small rural council, financial sustainability is the big ask. And if this is going to be such an important tool in the future of the organisation. And of course, we've got many requests within the council plan, and financing those requests is going to be we'll start with this plan. So I thank all the staff and thank the director.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Councillor Anderson, would you like to speak to the motion at all?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just that I agree with Councillor Wortman. It's going to be very hard to do the things we'd like to do, but we will try our best for our communities. That's all we can do at this stage. It's going to be tough this time, I think. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Would anyone else like to speak to the motion or against? Councillor Tolsha.
Over the last 4 to 5 years, there's been a lot of money come through council for projects. The expectation is high, but the reality is we can only afford to do what we can do. And there will be opportunities to get grants to make it happen, but there'll be other times when it won't. And we've just got to roll with the blows and do what we can and still maintain our sustainability. That's all.
Thanks, Councillor Tolsha. Anyone else like to speak to the motion? If not, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Item 10's community wellbeing and 10.1's Cudgewell Football Oval Lighting Project tender. I'll call on our Director of Community and Planning.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This project is another demonstration of Council's commitment to improving infrastructure and facilities for our sporting and recreation groups. So the Cudgewell Football and Netball Club have advocated for a long time for improving their lighting situation at their oval, which is not just used for football and netball but also for community gatherings. So on the back of some funding from Sport and Rec Victoria, council contribution and club contribution, I'm pleased to present a tender report which recommends awarding the contract to the preferred contractor to deliver an upgrade to the lighting at Cudgewell. The contractor has vast experience in this area, including recently completing the upgrade of the Rowan Park facility at Tallangatta, which whilst Cudgewell outcome won't be able to be seen from space like the Tallangatta does, it will certainly increase the capacity of events and training and safety at Cudgewell Reserve. So the recommendation is as presented.
Thank you very much. Any questions or clarification, councillors, on that report? No. We have the recommendation in front of us. Someone like to move a motion? Councillor Tolsha.
I'd like to approve the tender as presented and awarded contract to Positive Electrical Services.
And all the other stuff that went in that recommendation.
Oh, sorry,
And all the rest of the stuff that went
and
in
all
that
the other stuff that went in there. I must be reading the wrong bit.
Do I have a seconder?
Sorry.
Councillor Pittman. Well, Councillor Tolsha, would you like to speak to the motion?
I'd just like to say the contract for the Rowan Park went very well with this contractor, and I just think this is just an easy add-on to that project. I can't see there'll be any issues with that contractor, and it's going to be great for the local community.
Councillor Pittman.
Yeah, I'd just like to say this is going to be a real bonus for the Cudgegua Football Club. You know, they've been a fairly vibrant and active football club over the many years that I've been a part of this community, and it's great to see this opportunity come alive for them.
Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Again, Council has committed a cash contribution to this project, and rightly so. We love to support community sport, but I must make note of Cudgegua Football Netball Club contributing $47,000, which is a great effort from a small club. And yeah, it's good that all participants have skin in the game, and we'll get a great outcome from this. And I just want to note in the risk assessment, a lot of due diligence has been done on this project, and we feel that the project will run on time and on budget.
Anyone else like to speak to the motion or against? We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. 11's asset management and plant.
Go to 10.2.
10.2. Do I have a 10.2?
I hope so.
I've got a 10.3 as well. Look at that, 10.2, Culture and Inclusion Report.
Community planning.
And we'll call on our Director of Community and Planning.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The report to Council gives an update on activities contained in the Culture and Inclusion Unit, particularly around youth inclusion activities, community wellbeing and creative arts. You can see for the reporting period there's been a range of activities undertaken. Some highlights that I'd like to mention is particularly in the inclusion space with the conduct of NAIDOC Week celebrations, Reconciliation Week activities, and also Ida Hobbit Day was also marked at Tallangatta and Corryong as well. Importantly, work continued on the draft of the required new Municipal Health and Wellbeing Plan, which will be presented to Council shortly for adoption to go out to community consultation. And importantly, there's been some good work done in the art space in forming new relationships with organisations and supporting some of the local community events as well. So all in all, a fairly full period of activity, and the recommendation is as presented.
Thank you very much. Any questions or clarification on the report? Very extensive report, a lot happening. We have the recommendation in front of us. Would someone like to move a motion? Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as presented. Yep, the report be noted, sorry, beg your pardon.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Tolsha. Councillor Anderson, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I just thought, wow, all those plans and, geez, there's a lot of work going on there. Youth plan, reconciliation, municipal and wellbeing. Very busy in that department at the moment, so congratulations to all that work that's going on. But not forgetting the libraries, there's lots going on there. And the neighbourhood house, that report is extensive, so thanks to all the staff. We hear snippets of what's going on, but that's a lot. So good on everyone. But most importantly, it's so good for the communities, so thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Councillor Tolsha?
Yeah, just want to say, great achievement by everybody involved. I've been involved in a lot of those groups and meetings, and yeah, it's a credit to the community and to the council with what they're doing and where they're going with it. The RAP will be important for the community. Yes, well done.
Thanks, Councillor Tolsha. Would anyone else like to speak to the motion or against? Councillor Wortman?
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. Look, fully endorse what my fellow councillors have said. An enormous amount of work happening in this space. I'd just like to thank the Director, and if he could pass on to his staff the great work that's happening. Very good.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. I just probably just one thing to note, and it's just that, you know, from council's point of view, that we believe that everyone should feel welcome to be part of the community in Towong, and I think that's where we're heading towards, and that's the outcome we want to see. So heading in the right direction. If there's nothing else, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. 10.3 funding extension. So Emergency Recovery Victoria, Rebuild Services, and again I'll call on our Director of Community and Planning.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. As the report indicates, the rebuild program has been a long-standing program since the bushfires of 2019-20, and the program has had a number of iterations and extensions over the journey. As the report outlines, that Emergency Recovery Victoria, through the Commonwealth Government, has extended the program again till the June 30th, 2026. And for that program to be extended, there was a slight change in the categorisation of the grant, which meant that funding to go through to Gateway Health, which is the preferred provider of psychosocial support to community members, needed to come through council. So normally for a contract of this size, council would be required to undertake a full tender process, but given the nature of the contract, the nature of where the funding's coming from, and the history of Gateway Health involved in the program, council officers have deemed it appropriate to put a recommendation to council that the procurement process be exempted and that the contract be awarded directly to Gateway Health as required under the Commonwealth and State deed of variation that council has signed, and the recommendation is as presented.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or clarification? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. My question just to the Director. I know some of the services that are... I was just wondering if you could just give a brief of the main services that are provided.
So over the journey there's been a range of services, particularly at the start, so understanding what the needs were of the people affected by the loss of their buildings, of their residences. But the main focus all the way through with Gateway Health has been supporting individual families or couples or individuals themselves with the stresses and strains of dealing with the loss of their home and what did that mean for their future. So that's obviously been a terrible burden for the families and individuals to carry, and to have the support of professional, trained counsellors has been really significant. And I think the major thing too, that it's providing that consistency from 2019-20 through to now, with the same people going along the journey with the families.
Thank you.
Any further questions or clarification? We have recommendation in front of us. Someone like to move the motion? Councillor Pittman.
Yes, I'd like to move that the recommendations under points 1, 2 and 3 be adopted.
There's one on the next page as well.
Beg your pardon, and point 4 also.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Tolsha. Councillor Pittman, would you like to speak to the motion at all?
Leonard, I think this is a really important service that we maintain in our Shire. After what our communities have experienced over the last 4 to 5 years, I think it's important that we have continuity with these services.
Definitely. Councillor Tolsha.
I agree with Councillor Pittman to have the continuation of their same people, same faces, seeing the community. Obvious choice, and I think it's a lay down decision.
Thanks, Councillor Tolsha. Would anyone else like to speak to the motion or against? We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. I believe now we're up to 11, asset management. And 11.1 is plant replacement program, tender evaluation for a backhoe for Tallangatta Depot. I'll call on our Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of the report is to provide information to support the assessment of a tender submission for the supply of the backhoe for the Tallangatta Depot, and to seek council approval to appoint the recommended supplier. The report outlines the tender process followed for the procurement of the new backhoe loader, which will be for infrastructure works such as drains, culverts, roadside maintenance, general roadside clean-up activities, predominantly in the Tallangatta and surrounding areas. This report also provides a recommendation of the most suitable supplier to supply the best value for money and preferred equipment type to undertake the above works. A comparative tender evaluation report for the contract and supplied tender documentations has been provided to councillors prior to the meeting. Tenders were released through the Municipal Association of Victoria procurement vendor panel. A budget of $225,000 was assigned for this purchase in Council's 2025-26 Capital Works program. The tenders were evaluated on the basis of price, suitability, service backup, machine quantity and historically reliability. Assessments was tender based on the criteria of price, suitability for scope of infrastructure works performed by the outdoor crew. Due consideration was also given to service backup, machine quality and historic reliability. The officer has a review of all the tenders which called for backhoe rear end hydraulic side shift and tilt quickly hitch for hoe operations. The CAT 432 backhoe comes out as a more suitable machine. Moreover, the CAT 432 is within the allocated budget range and there will be no additional requirements for extra buckets and other attachments as these are already available at the depot. Ergonomics are aligned with other backhoe machines within Council's fleet, along with operator familiarity, spare parts and service requirements. Recommendation is as presented. Thank you.
Any questions or clarification?
Under I note that the age of the last machine and the number of hours on it, this is a machine that clearly gets a lot of use. So I think it's entirely appropriate that they're replaced in this timely manner.
Thanks, Councillor Pittman. If there's nothing further, we have a recommendation in front of us. Someone like to move the motion? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as presented.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Pittman. Councillor Wortman, would you like to speak to the motion at all?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Council's had a number of Caterpillar machines over the years and had very good service out of them, so I imagine that will continue.
Councillor Pittman, anything further to add?
Nothing further other than to agree with Councillor Wortman's comments.
Would anyone else like to speak to the motion or against the motion? No. Well, put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. 11.2 is road management plan, and again I'll call on our Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Purpose of the report: to obtain the endorsement of a recently reviewed road management plan for 2025 by the Council. A full review of the road management plan has been undertaken in March 2025, resulting in updates to improve clarity, statutory compliance and operational effectiveness. The amendments address scope, responsibilities, asset records, inspection regimes, service levels and emergency management provisions. The following table summarises the major changes proposed in the version of Council for Council's consideration. Council's road management plan was first adopted in 2004. It was developed in accordance with Part 4, Division 5 of the Road Management Act 2004, and it is aligned with Local Government Act 2022. The RMP, Road Management Plan, identifies the roads for which Council is responsible and documents the management systems in place to ensure that the road assets continue to be effectively maintained to provide a safe road network for the community. The processes within the road management plan are necessary to ensure that Council meets its risk management, insurance and asset management obligations in regards to its road infrastructure. The plan states it is to be reviewed every 4 years, and it has recently been reviewed and the update version has been presented to Council for endorsement. The recommendation is as presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, clarification on the report?
I have one, and without notice, Jamie, you don't have to answer it now. Sorry. The difference between what we had as our asset condition to what we have now, like projected to what it come out as, is there a lot of difference over the 4 years of what was expected?
No, I can answer that. Through you, Mr Mayor. With a recent condition inspection, it has shown that our road assets are slowly improving over time.
Oh, good.
If that answers your question.
It does, yep.
Yep.
So the prediction of an asset being at a 8 is actually at a 6 or something, which is better.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
We are moving in the right direction.
Yep.
Any further questions or clarification? We have the recommendation in front of us. Would someone like to move the motion? Councillor Tolsha.
The recommendation is that items 1, 2 and 3, draft management plan be adopted, as presented be adopted. How's that sound?
I think we can work with that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Anderson. Councillor Tolsha, would you like to speak to the motion at all?
No, I'm fine.
Councillor Anderson. Anyone else like to speak to the motion or against? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I just want to thank the Director and the staff. A lot of work goes into the review. And as we all know, our road network and infrastructure is so vital to our communities and the Shire, in the Shire. So, yeah, this is very good.
Anyone else to speak to the motion? We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. 11.3, resealing of roads, contract 2025-26, and again I'll call on our Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The report is to seek approval to appoint the recommended contractor for spray sealing and associated services. The report describes the tender process followed for the procurement of a spray seal contractor to undertake the resealing of council's roads and recommends the appointment of a contractor to undertake the works. Resealing of council's roads is completed annually as part of the Capital Works program. In 2025, Procurement Australia was appointed to act as a tender agent for the purpose of seeking resealing tenders under their contract. Spray sealing and associated services for the North East Regional Procurement Excellent Network group of councils. This is a regional contract designed to achieve the best value and quality control through a bulk procurement process. The North East RPEN councils participated in the process, including Benalla Rural Council, Moira Shire Council, Wodonga Council and Towong Shire Council. Tenders were invited from qualified parties to be part of a panel of providers for the supply and delivery of spray seals and associated services on council's rural and urban roads. 6 tender submissions were received. The resealing works are sourced from the budget allocated for this financial year. Successful completion of the project will improve road safety in various townships, environmental and climate change. The contractors will use a crumb, rubber and recycling tyre product that increases the life of seals of the rural roads. Due to the risk assessment, due to the quality process followed through Procurement Australia, the risk for this contract are low. The officer's view is the references provided by Symbolics Construction in their tender submission, as well as quality of works delivered for council in the 2024-25 stabilisation of major patches, support the view that they will deliver work of a high quality and provide a good value and low risk to council. So, as per the recommendation, councillors.
Thank you. Any questions or clarification? I might just have one quick one. We've sort of moved to the seal with the rubber integrated in that. Have we got any figures on what sort of life expectancy we can expect now with our seals compared to without? Is it much different?
Mr Mayor, yes, so that's one of the reasons why over the time we've been using those recycled rubber seals, and they are demonstrating, hence our road network is improving because of the lack of water ingress getting into pavement from the older style seals. So they're more a flexible membrane that keeps water out over the pavement.
Beautiful. Thank you. Any further questions or clarification? We have the recommendation in front of us. Would someone like to move the motion? Oh, Councillor Pittman. Yep.
I'd like to move that the contract be awarded as per the recommendation, and also that the other 2 dot points for the Chief Executive Officer's authority to approve those and allocate the budget.
Thanks, Councillor Pittman. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Anderson. Councillor Pittman, would you like to speak to the motion at all?
Yeah, look, thank you, Jamie, for your information on the quality of that seal, and I think it's pretty evident that the quality of our local roads exceed those of Vic roads in the Shire, and that quality is consistently improving. And I see that with the comments too from local community members, that they certainly notice that difference. So well done to you.
Thank you.
Councillor Anderson. Would anyone else like to speak to the motion or against? We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Land use planning. And 257 Drummond Road, Talgarno. I'll call on our Director of Community and Planning.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This report is a clear demonstration that making planning decisions is quite challenging for council and for officers as well. So the report details an application for a two-lot subdivision on the peninsula over towards Bellbridge and Talgarno. The assessment by the officer and recommendation is for refusal. However, it is an item that is really a balancing act, because there's the balance between the guidelines contained within the planning scheme, but also recognising the long-held aspirations of council to activate the peninsular area for proposals which potentially can support an application like this. So it's a difficult one, and there's obviously interpretations associated with the scheme in relation to protection of agricultural land. But then there's also, as I said, the aspirations of council to support potential population growth in that particular area and the benefits that may bring, given its proximity to Albury-Wodonga, and the ability to attract new residents into the Shire, which then has its flow-on effects for sustainability of the Shire. So, on balance, the professional opinion of the officer is that the application be refused, but based on my remarks, the council is open to make an alternate decision.
Thank you. Any questions or clarification on the recommendation or the item in front of us?
Yeah, through you,
Councillor Pittman.
Mr Mayor, I do think this is a fairly topical subject and a difficult one for us all to consider about what direction we take on this. As the Director pointed out, we do have that wish to be able to develop our region in these areas and encourage residency and new homes being built, but having to do that within the framework of the planning guidelines as well. So a difficult decision for us all to make.
Thanks, Councillor Pittman. If there's nothing further, we have the recommendation in front of us. Would someone like to move a motion? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move an alternate motion, and I hope I get a seconder so we can debate it. I'll start off with my proposed alternate motion. Council approves planning permit PA 25002257 Drummond Road, Talgarno, and the proposed permit conditions on the following basis. The proposal aligns with Council's municipal strategic objective by promoting land use diversity and supporting rural residential development in areas characterised by low to moderate agricultural value within 40 minutes commute of Albury-Wodonga. The proposed re-subdivision would create two lots of approximately 6 hectares, each potentially suitable for specialised or niche agricultural opportunities. The visual impacts resulting from the construction of dwellings and outbuildings can be effectively minimised through the implementation of landscaping along the western and southern boundaries of Lot 1 and the southern and eastern boundaries of Lot 2. The proposed permit conditions, I better go through them, I'm afraid. Yeah, which is long. Compliance with documents under this permit. 1. At all time, what the permit allows must be carried out in accordance with the requirements of the document approved under the permit to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. Commencement of the permit will operate from the issued date of permit. layout not altered. The layout of the development must not be altered from the layout on the approved and endorsed plans within the written consent of the responsible authority. Amended plans required before the plan of subdivision is certified and the development starts. Amended plans must be approved and endorsed by the responsible authority. The plans must be prepared to the satisfaction of the responsible authority, be drawn to the scale with dimensions and submitted to it in an electronic form, be generally in accordance with the plans forming part of the application, but modified to show the following details. Areas to be set aside for the purpose of effluent disposal and marked on the plan as effluent envelope. The water supply must be the minimum combined capacity of 45,000 to 20,000 litres, must always be reserved exclusively for firefighting purposes, be stored in an above ground water tank constructed of concrete or metal, have all the fixed above ground water pipes and fittings required for firefighting purposes made of corrosive resistant metal, include a separate outlet for occupant if the supply is combined, be readily identified from the building to appropriate identification signage, be located within 60 metres of the outer edge of the approved building. The outlets of the water tank must be 4 metres of the access way and unobstructed. Incorporated a separate ball gate valve, completing 64mm CFA 3 thread per inch male fitting. Any pipe work must be a minimum of 65mm CFA coupling. Control of light spills. External lighting must be designed, baffled and located so as to prevent adverse effect on adjoining land to the satisfaction. All stormwater must be conveyed by means of drains to satisfactory points of areas of discharge approved by the responsible authority so that it will have no detrimental effects on the environment or adjoining properties. Before the dwelling is occupied, land must be cleared of all excess and unused building materials and debris to the satisfaction of responsible authority. Works to be completed before occupation of the dwelling must be occupied under the following works have been completed to the satisfaction of the responsible authority, or an all-weather access road. Provisions have been made to treat and retain all wastewater on site in accordance with the EPA Code of Practice. The dwellings have been connected to potable water supply with adequate storage to domestic use and firefighting purposes. The dwellings have been connected to an energy source. The internal access road that serves must be maintained to avoid dust, nuisance to any dwelling to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. Before the development is occupied, reticulated sewage must be provided to each lot and existing buildings must be connected to the reticulated sewage system. Before the development is occupied, all sewage and solid wastewater from the proposed development must be discharged into a new EPA-approved on-site wastewater management system. Before the development is occupied, all sewage and solid wastewater from the proposed development must be retained on the property boundaries of the subject land. Before the development is occupied, all sewage and solid wastewater from the proposed must be discharged into a new EPA-approved on-site secondary wastewater management system. Sorry about this. Before the development starts, the area set aside for the wastewater envelope and purpose of distribution and absorption of wastewater must be protected to prevent soil disturbance during the construction of the proposed development. A wastewater envelope approved by the responsible authority must be included on the endorsed plan. The envelope must observe all relevant setback distances current with the EPA on-site water guidelines. Before the issue of statement of compliance, the owner must enter into a Section 173 agreement with the responsible authority for wastewater envelopes designed on, endorsed and registered on the title of land. The on-site water treatment system must be installed outside of the area designated for the wastewater envelope. Before the plan of subdivision is certified, a landscape plan must be approved and endorsed by the authority. The landscape plan must be prepared to the satisfaction of the authority, be drawn to scale with the dimensions submitted in electronic form, be in accordance with the plans for forming part of the application. Screen planning along the west and southern boundaries with Murray River Road, planning schedule of all proposed trees and shrubs, botanical names, common names, plot size of each plan. Before the issue of statement of compliance, the landscaping works shown on the approved endorsement must be carried out and completed to the satisfaction of the authority. Landscaping shown and approved and endorsed must be maintained in accordance with the endorsed plans of the authority. Areas shown on the endorsed plan as landscape must not be used for any other purpose, and any dead, diseased or damaged plants must be replaced. Before the issue of statement of compliance, new vehicular crossings must be located and constructed to the satisfaction of the authority. Any roads, clearings and banks resulting from the excavation must be stabilised. Retaining walls, terrace, revegetation or other means slope stabilisation to the satisfaction of the authority. Telecommunications. The owner of the land must enter into an agreement with the telecommunication network to service provider for the provision of telecommunication service to each lot shown on the endorsed plan. A suitably qualified person from the provision of fibre-ready telecommunications facility to each lot shown on the endorsed plan. Standard set by the Australian Communications and Media Authority, unless the applicant can demonstrate that the land is in an area where the national broadband network will not be provided by optical fibre. A telecommunication network or service provider that all lots are connected or are to be ready to be connected to telecommunication service be in accordance with the provider and requirements. A suitably qualified person that the fibre-ready telecommunications facility have been provided in accordance with any industry's specifications or any standards set by the Australian Communications and Media Authority, unless the applicant can demonstrate the land is an area where the national broadband network will be provided by optical fibre. The owner of land must enter into agreements with the relevant authorities for the provision of water supply, drainage, sewerage facilities, electricity and gas where it is proposed to be connected. Service to each lot shown on the endorsed plan in accordance with the authority and relevant legislation at the time. Wastewater envelope. Before the development starts, the area set aside for the wastewater envelope and purpose of distribution and absorption of wastewater must be protected to prevent soil disturbance during construction of the proposed development. A wastewater envelope approved to the responsible authority must be included.
You've done that one.
Have I?
Yeah. Go to the last page.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Now we're getting there.
Yeah, thank you. Expiry of subdivision. This permit, as it relates to the development of subdivision, will expire if one of the following circumstances apply. The plan of the subdivision has not been certified under the Subdivision Act 1988 within 2 years of issue of the date of this permit. A statement of compliance is not issued within 5 years of the date of certification. In accordance with Section 69 of the Planning Environment Act 1987, an application may be submitted to the responsible authority for an extension of the period referred to in this condition. Development use, the last one. This permit will expire if one of the following circumstances applies. The development is not started within 2 years of the issue date. The development is not completed within 4 years of the issue date of this permit in accordance with Section 69 of the Planning Environment Act 1987. Thank you.
I didn't quite get that paragraph. Did you read it again?
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Do we have a seconder for that
I need a drink
motion?
of water.
Councillor Tolter. Councillor Wortman, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thanks.
You know to breathe for a minute, or you're right?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Look, I fully acknowledge what the Director said. As we know, this is in the rural activity zone. It comes down to interpretation. And Council has received a planning permit application for the re-subdivision. Now, this is quite important. As the planning scheme exists now, we can't create new lots. But this was an existing lot, and the reason they went for the re-subdivision is to allow access from Drummond Road, which is a lot safer than Murray River Road. So I can see where they're coming from with that. As you know, Towong Shire has had a very precautionary approach to our high quality agricultural land, and we've identified that, and it's in our farming zone. This is a rural activity zone, and we've identified that it's moderate agricultural land, and so it's not our high quality farming land. So I think that's an important point. The rural activity zone land allows for a diverse range of flexibility or of opportunities for agriculture, and this can support niche industries, whether it's cut flowers, herbs, crops. Less traditional types of horticulture could lead to successful development for specialty markets. And being close to Albury-Wodonga, there is a large market, and so the opportunity exists to be able to sell your produce to a large centre. As I said, the access will be from Drummond's Road. It is not anticipated the proposed dwellings will have any impact on adjoining land uses. To my knowledge, there's been no objections. I'll just ask the director there. Yeah, received. No native vegetation is proposed to be removed as part of the proposal, and no impact to flora or fauna is anticipated. As we've said, the on-site effluent systems has been designed to ensure that the effluent can be disposed of on-site. No impact on the waterways that is anticipated. The application was referred to Golden Murray Water, who consented to the issue of a planning permit conditions. The proposed buildings will be set back 200 metres from the full supply level of Lake Hume, and the effluent fields are 300 metres setback. The land is not on steep slope. A land capability has been submitted to accompany the application. Mains power is available to both lots. Just in context, the lots are approximately 9 kilometres from Bellbridge and 17 kilometres west of Albury as the crow flies. This is a pretty important point. The lot sizes of neighbouring properties range from 1.3 hectares up to 100 hectares, where many smaller lot sizes also contain dwellings not associated with agriculture. There are 14 dwellings on individual allotments located within 1.8 kilometres of the site, which suggests that the proposed re-subdivision fits with the already established smaller rural properties. The site is located within the peri-urban area of Towing Shire, which we've documented through our residential development and encouraged. Now, we have discussed many times about the rural activity zone numerous times at council, and it comes down to how you interpret the zone. It has been shown through numerous studies and data collected that this area of the Shire is not high productive farmland. Our highly productive land is identified in the farming zone, and we agree we want to protect our farming zone from fragmentation and keep maximising the production of this land. Whereas the land around Tolgano is already fragmented and there are many examples of small farmlets. This re-subdivision will allow the potential for niche agricultural diversification, and I ask for support on this application. As we know, it is a growth area, and we envisage substantial growth if our planning amendment is successful. This application is allowable under the planning scheme as it exists, and I would ask my fellow councillors to support in granting this permit.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Councillor Tolsha, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yeah, I probably won't speak as long as Councillor Wortman.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say I understand our planning officer's point of view through this whole land use planning report. I also understand that there is flexibility within our business to be able to grant on a case-by-case basis. I think this is a great opportunity to get a bit of unusable land that's titled, to actually blend that and then separate those two and make one big, two larger blocks rather than one small, useless block. I think that's a great opportunity to do this. And I just think, as Councillor Wortman has said, I think it's a great opportunity to actually increase numbers, the opportunity not to reduce our great farming land, but an opportunity to have two blocks now which are going to be usable, and I think it'd be a better option.
Thanks, Councillor Tolsha. Would anyone else like to speak to the motion? Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Firstly, I want to thank Councillor Wortman for his experience and leadership in this one, because some of us we've been around for a term, but planning is very complex. So thank you very much for helping us with this one. And I agree. It's a common sense approach, I think, on this one. So that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Would anyone else like to speak to the motion or against the motion? I've probably got a little bit different view that, you know, for me it's the proposal is not consistent with clause 14.012S. The proposal is not demonstrated that will lead to the sustainable use of the land for agriculture. My understanding is that's what we need to be looking at within this zone, and we're not. The application hasn't, in my eyes, met that. I think it's definitely something that we do aspire to have in the area, and I would love to be able to support the application, but as it stands at the moment, I feel we don't meet the criteria required, and that's where I'm sitting. Is there anyone else like to speak to the motion or against? I give Councillor Wortman the right of reply.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Look, I fully appreciate your view on that, Mr Mayor. I just think it's, as Councillor told you, a case-by-case situation. I just down the road from this proposed subdivision is a cut flower operation on a small scale, on a small parcel of land, and I just think this offers the opportunity for a niche agricultural opportunity.
Okay, if there's nothing further, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Rightio. I think we've got another planning one coming.
We do. Mitta mountain bike.
Mitta Mountain Bike Park, and I'll call on our Director of Community and Planning.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. This is a report on a topic that was deferred from a previous meeting where Council wanted greater certainty over the land tenure agreement at the proposed Mitta Mountain Bike Park. In the period from that meeting, Council officers have done some work with DECA, and we're pleased to say that DECA's position has changed from a Committee of Management requirement to more of a licence agreement, where the actual use of the proposed track and the definition of that area is quite truncated, and that's what the licence will apply to, and that DECA will maintain responsibility for any land outside that designated track that would be used by riders. So we think that that is a really good outcome to allow the project to proceed, and we'll continue, subject to Council's decision, we'll proceed to work with DECA on securing the detail of that agreement, which will then come to Council for signing, but at least we're in a position now to put the recommendation to Council as presented.
Thanks very much. Any questions or clarification on this report? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Not so much a question, but just a comment. We all know the history of this. There's a lot of work gone into this, and I have to thank the officers involved, and it's great that we've been able to negotiate with DECA to a point of a licence agreement.
Any further questions or clarification? We'll have the recommendation. Would someone like to move the motion? Councillor Pittman.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I'd like to move that the planning permit application be approved, subject to the conditions listed below.
And the 49 points.
I wasn't going to respond.
You're not going through? No, righto. Thank you.
They're there for public.
Do I have a seconder for that motion. Councillor Tolsha, Councillor Pittman, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yeah, look, as Councillor Waltman said, this has been something that's been on the books for quite a while. You know, the local group have worked very diligently in trying to meet all the requirements for this, and in particular, and also thank the council officers with working with DECA to come to the agreement to be able to pursue this development. I think it'd be a great thing for that local community. I look forward to seeing the outcome.
Thanks, Councillor Pittman. Councillor Tolsha, would you like to speak to it?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that the DECA turnaround 360 degrees from what they first wanted to what they've accepted must be a credit to our council twisting arms or whatever they've done, but I think it's going to be a great outcome. Well done.
Would anyone else like to speak to the motion or against? Councillor Waltman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Look, I have to highlight point 4 in the recommendation. In the event that an agreement cannot be reached between DECA and Towering Shire, this permit cannot be executed. Look, we've fell at the last hurdle a number of times. I just hope we get over it this time.
Anyone else like to speak to the motion? I'd just like to add in there that, you know, I think it's important that we understand that this is not something that council is looking to fund ongoing. It's a group that's going to run this, and you know, hopefully the benefits to the local community outweigh any negative impact that this may have, and so you know, I'm supportive of giving this a go. So, if there's nothing further, no one else want to speak to the motion, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Yep, no wonder you didn't read them out. I'm up to 13.
Yep.
I'm going to click that. Environmental sustainability, there are no reports to present at this meeting. 14, there are no economic and tourism development reports to present this meeting. Councillor reports, I believe there might be a couple. Councillor Tolsha.
Yeah, I have one, Mr Mayor. So councillors Whitehead, Pittman, Anderson and myself, along with our CEO, Ms Phelps, attended the Rural Council's forum in Yarrawonga on the 31st of July and 1st of August. A lot of discussions were there on planning policy on councils to create housing, hence very relevant to what we just spoke about. Also, financial sustainability within rural councils was talked about. There was a panel on childcare and maternal health issues, and the effect of the drought and the emergency service levy will have and has impacted on our communities. So it was very worthwhile. Would recommend we keep attending these rural council events because there's also a great networking opportunity as well.
Yep.
And I was a bit late in putting that in, hence I'm doing it now.
Thanks, Councillor Tolsha. So you will move that, and do I have a seconder? Councillor Pittman. Would anyone else like to speak to that at all? We'll put that we accept that report. All in favour? Carried. Do we have any other councillor reports? Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I just had a report on the Corryong Hospital rally that we ran on the 10th of August. Just briefly, firstly, thanks to all the staff, our communities, the Alliance, Border Medical Association and Better Border Health. We couldn't have done it without everyone involved. But just a couple of highlights out of that, which will be in the report as well. We had 3 amazing speakers locally, which was terrific. Kate Wheeler from Corrion, who spoke, she's been a mental health nurse and spoke about the risk to mental health patients and the proposed level 6 options for the redevelopment of Albury-Wodonga Health. That was a very interesting conversation. We also heard from Pastor Carol Allen from Food Share up here in Corrion, and spoke about transport for our residents who get caught, who go into hospital via ambulance and are discharged at hours during the night and have no way of getting home, which we've all been working on that for quite some time. And Russell and Robin Kelly from MITA, who spoke about the importance of the helicopter service, which at the moment is quite remote for the northeast region. It's in Traralgon and Ballarat or Bendigo, one of those two, and the need for a helipad at the Albury-Wodonga Health. Also, our Mayor did a terrific speech and chaired it beautifully, I have to say. So thanks, Mr Mayor. And also Stan Stavros from the Better Border Health, who gave us all the statistics, which is what we are all gathering our information and why we're so vehement on, you know, we need to make sure we get a new hospital. Without Stan's facts and data, we wouldn't be doing this. So that was Better Border Health. And also from the Border Medical Association, Dr Lockie McKeeman, who talks about, you know, that revolving door, because if they end up at ED and they are discharged too soon, they often go back, or they're on a waiting list. So it's pretty sad. I'd also like to thank the two mayors from Albury City and Wodonga City for coming and speaking with us and joining in the rally. Overall, I think it was a great success, and thanks to all concerned for that one. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. If I may just add to that, just a thank you to yourself in particular for all the work that you've done in getting that rally up and going, and speaking yourself as well. So thank you very much for putting yourself out there above and beyond in my belief. So Councillor Anderson, you'd like to move that report?
I'll move that report.
Do I have a seconder? Thanks, Councillor Tolsha, and we'll put that the report be noted. All in favour?
Can I just say one thing before you do that? Big thank you. I'm going to do some back patting as well. Great effort done, and your chairing was absolutely amazing. Well done.
Yep.
That's all.
Very good.
We've voted.
We voted.
Any other
I do have
reports?
another report, thanks Mr Mayor. Myself and the CEO, Ms Phelps, we attended the Australian Local Government Association in Canberra, so we had speakers from the ministers of both government and the opposition. We had some really interesting speakers, which we haven't heard before, such as Mark Boris, AM. We also have the opportunity each year to put in questions, or we get to speak to the minister or ask questions of the ministers. We also have the opportunity to forward motions, which we all then vote on and are presented to government, which is a great opportunity, because it's amazing collectively how much we're in line. There was 1,300 attending, so it was the largest one they've had. Once again, another great networking ability to have there. They also have exhibitors, which I love it. It's fascinating what all the new things that we can, as a council, of ways of saving money or helping our residents. It was very informative. The staff may not think so, because I've come back with a whole heap of things, but you know, it's always worth considering, and that was mint as far as I was concerned. The highlight for me was our Governor once again spoke to us, Governor General. Last year she spoke at, that was her first presentation once she was sworn in, and it was just interesting. She had pretty grandiose ideas of what she was going to do, but the best part was she's actually done a lot of it. She wanted to visit a lot of communities, so maybe one day she might come and see us. So I just thought it was, yeah, she was fantastic. It was really good to hear from her again. And that's the end of that report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Anderson.
And I'd like to move the report be accepted. Thank you.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Pittman. And we'll put to the vote. All in favour? Carried. Great to see so many council reports. Any others while we're going? No? Very good.
I'll do a few next time.
Yeah. 16's urgent business. Don't believe we have any. Committee minutes. There are no committee meeting minutes for review or confirmation this meeting. 18's council policies. There are no policies for review or adoption. 19 sealing of documents. Neil, nothing in confidential. So 21 is close of meeting. Thank you very much everyone for your attendance, and thank you to all those people watching online, and we'll close the meeting.